I am so glad that you're here so we can learn and grow together. No matter where you are in your journey of life and what your goals, ambitions, and dreams may be, deep down in our core, we all share a beautiful common aspiration, and that is to be happy and live a wonderful life. Just like you, I've had my share of experiences with life, and I am ecstatic to share this amazing journey with you as it continues to unfold. Through years of studies and self-discovery, and with the guidance of incredible mentors, coaches, and teachers along the way, I have been fortunate to find my light and see the path to joy, peace, and happiness. And I want to help you find yours. My ultimate desire is to uplift your spirit, bring consciousness to your thoughts, and remind you that you are an outstanding, uniquely powerful, and eternal spiritual being that is here for this amazing physical experience that we call life. Guiding you through this to unleash your power within and elevating the collective consciousness and happiness of those who I come in contact with has become my true obsession in life. So let's begin this journey together and know that it is my absolute pleasure to get to know you, cheer you on, and be your personal Lucifer and Lightbringer to illuminate the path and be your champion to find your own light along the way. I want you to think of limitless possibilities and manifest the journey ahead and achieve anything and everything you have ever desired. If you are blessed to have found your light already, allow us to pour into each other and share your wisdom so collectively we shine brighter together and be a beacon of hope for others in need. With that said, let's begin and welcome aboard. Hello everyone, welcome to the Brainwatch Creations show. My name is Lucifer Fezka. I am your host. I'm here with a good friend of mine. We have just actually recently met a few weeks ago, and then I realized how deep she is, and here we are chatting about it. So I would like to introduce Stephanie the Tigress. The Tigress is the Tigress Closet is her social media and her online business. And to introduce to Stephanie, if she were to describe herself in a book of expressions, she said next to the word, next to the phrase, "You can't help others unless you help yourself," would be a picture of her. She's a self-proclaimed hot mess that she has been able to turn the trauma into her transformation. She's also a published writer. And in addition to that, she is certified in trauma. What is it exactly? Is trauma?
Trauma-informed.
Trauma-informed. And also she is very well versed in Tantra and intimacy coach between couples. Mm-hmm. Did I cover it all?
Yeah, couples and women. Couples
and women. Gotcha. Very cool. So it was, just to kind of go back to how we met, I'm very empathic with energy, right? And we were actually in Vegas and you were laying by the pool, and out of everybody, I just was drawn to you to come talk to you. And next thing we know, we just chatted and we just realized how much we have in common and how the journeys are similar and the spirituality aspects of it. And here we are chatting about this. So again, it's once you're, I think, in tune, or you're dialed in, so to speak, with the things that you're channeling, right? Mm-hmm. Your frequency, your vibe. People cross your path in a certain way that I think adds value, especially if you catch it and you recognize it, right? Once you're there, once you have this awakening, I believe the more conscious you are, the better, because nobody comes into your path as an accident. It's just a matter of what are you going to get out of it, right?
Right.
So, how was your experience about meeting me?
I would say it was the same as far as I noticed your energy before I really noticed you. Mm-hmm. Or I felt your energy. That's a better description. Yeah, like I could feel you, and I knew, I was like, when I feel someone's energy, that's when I know like I have to be open to it, whatever that is. And so then when you came over to me and started talking to me, I was like, of course he did. Of course he did, because I felt his energy. Of course he was going to come see me.
It was a part of your manifestation, probably.
Right.
Again, I want to thank you for opening your beautiful home to me to do this session with you, and I really appreciate it. Now, that brings me to ask you, tell me about yourself a little bit more and what your journey's been like, and how did your breakthrough and awakening come about?
Sure. I think the best way to describe it is just to say I grew up with the whole notion of like the Disney fairy tale princess type of thing, and that was real reality and a real possibility. And I think I've always been really ambitious. That's not something I think I know I have. And so in my journey, I was really young in my early 20s when a client of mine gave me The Secret, the book.
Yes.
And that was the first eye-opening and mind-opening thing that I experienced.
That book has done that for many people, including myself, I
Right.
believe. Right. Go ahead.
So I think since then, it was just a very slow journey of getting to where I needed to be open at the time in my life when I really needed to be open. And then I was, just life happens, and like sometimes it smacks you in the face and you realize you have to readjust and reevaluate shit. And so that's what I did when I was, I don't know, right after I had my son, and still mid-20s. But it's kind of just like I realized that the Disney fairy tale princess type fairy tale wasn't as realistic as I was taught to be. And that was okay. And that it put me in a place to be more open to receive things in life that I didn't think I was going to receive, like being able to feel more love after a divorce, and getting married for the second time, and then again in 2018 when we lost my son's dad. There had been enough time in there of...
My condolences.
Yeah, thank you. There'd been enough time in there of like learning how to separate from that person or whatever, because when that happened, I didn't realize also that trauma lives in the body. And when you experience trauma, or just, it could be small, little, big, medium, doesn't matter. It lives in the body. And that was when I got to have the real life experience that's for real. And unfortunately, I just have to say, I do say unfortunately. I'm aware of the words that I'm using. Because I'm not in a place yet to say like fortunately,
right?
But unfortunately, I saw the crash in person, and I saw him in his car with the sheet over him, and for some reason I happened to be the only person out of our friends, family, and anybody who saw it, but yet there's a lot of us that lived around, so I still to this day go like, there's a reason that I was the one. Don't know what that is, but I'll take it. But that experience is I would say the experience that just opened my mind, opened my life. And when we talk about brainwashing and societal expectations and all of that stuff, immediately when that happened, I made a choice right in that moment that I was done with society's expectations or brainwashing, and all of that stuff was no longer welcome in my world because I was experiencing something that most people don't experience, or maybe they don't get to experience until they're elderly. And so I felt like, and I still feel like, there's things that happen that just bring us to a place where those expectations and brainwashing, it doesn't make sense to like put those on your life, because it no longer is the same as everyone, if that makes sense. So I spent since 2018, just learning different modalities, learning how to to let go of the trauma in the body, to reframe the experiences. Because also what I experienced was a year to the day after him dying was that my second husband, I had found out, was unfaithful the whole time. So like layer on top of layer of life experiences just really put me in a place of like, I need to change my mindset.
And that's what the beginning of the journey, I guess.
Yeah. So
thank you for sharing that. A couple of things that I was making mental note. You mentioned you're not quite there yet, right? And again, the journey is always evolving, right?
Right.
However, you know when you have a little epiphany and breakthrough that, okay, I can feel good, right? And you do that on a regular basis, and it reinforces the behavior. However, you also know when you're fully there, and you said you're not there yet. What is it that is preventing you for being fully at that happiness, at that peace, considering all the knowledge and the practices that you have already? What is the mental block there, you think?
That's a good question. Because I think at this point, I just haven't reached a place where I can like fully resonate with the statement that it's a positive experience to have seen. Part of it is like maybe the depth of the situation, because we knew each other since we were 12, and so it's more like I don't quite know like why the universe would have me physically see something like that. And so that's why
you're still processing it to some degree.
Yeah.
So may I ask, what is the feeling you have around that? The images, what you felt, what you thought, what is it when you go there? What are you feeling?
Now I feel kind of like numb now.
Okay. Numb now, but obviously it grew to be something that it is. You've kind of ignored it to a point that is numb. I'm just assuming, because I've also lost people. My father passed away. That sense of loss, and I'm going to reward what I'm just saying, because truly I don't believe we ever lose anything on this planet, in this platform, right? As you know, everything is made out of energy. It just takes, when you're in the middle of it, it's just more challenging to pay attention to that, right? And when my dad made the transition, and that's one thing that he believed in, one thing that I believed in, I was one of the ones that didn't really shed a tear until we spread his ashes. And that's, where it hit me really good. And just the sense of loss again, it was there, because he wasn't there for me to grab onto. His physical form that I'm familiar with was no longer there. It's just ashes. So when I look back at why did I lose it and why did I cry the way I did, because I've always felt good about it. I know he's happier. I know he's back with the source. He's re-energized. He's just everywhere, right?
Right.
And to me, that was like it's okay that I'm feeling that, right? It's the feeling of loss. That's how we know we have emotions, right? I mean, the key thing about this whole thing is we're not saying feel numb. We want to feel those emotions, right? However, the key is like, how much do we want to indulge in it, and how much we want to be there?
Right.
And the challenge is because these stress hormones and emotions are highly toxic and highly addicting. Your body gets to that. That's why when a lot of people go through that, the loss of someone or anything traumatic, your body, as you know, is in that state of dependency on those hormones, right? Now the body is the subconscious mind now. It's just kind of doing its own thing and keeping you there. And you feel like you want to get up, but it's more comfortable being there. It's more comfortable to be depressed. It's more comfortable to shut out the world and just hate life, and why me, right? It's easier to feel that way. The challenge is once that breakthrough comes in, that, you know what, I'm indulging on this too long. I can feel good. I want to feel good. And that making that conscious decision like you did to break through with your thoughts, with your meditation, being able to find happiness, that's a key. Now, the reason I was asking that is if at some point you're ready to change even the numbness feeling around it, right? Because it's still not 100%. So there are techniques that could be done. For example, I'll just go through the process of it. We're not going to have to do that right now, right? But I want to make sure you're ready to change the feeling, right? So what we'll do is we'll go back while you're in a meditative state, right? And there's certain pressure points, right? That I will be lightly touching, and we'll go back and you relive the situation, what you saw, what you heard, how you felt. Now, this is momentarily, just to kind of go there and put you back in that that past scenario that you observed and was very traumatic. So you're going to go fully immersed for a second. The numb feeling is not going to be there anymore. It's going to be raw again. The question then would be asked while you're in that trance and just feeling it, not necessarily good feeling, but it's just a traumatic experience.
Right.
How do you want to feel about it now? And those new emotions that you would like to create and wrap it around it, then we'll start practicing with that. And through practice, through meditation, through, again, just touching the pressure points, that could start forming around it. And the more that, some people happens one time, some people happens 2-3 times, but it's a practice when you're in that state. And it makes a huge difference. I did that with Dad. That was good. I'm feeling very good about it. Like every time I even think about him, every time I've even shed a tear, it's been gratefulness, love you. It wasn't that I miss him anymore, because again, I feel him. It's just more of a, I wish I could talk to him kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And that kind of happens through this meditative state. When you get to that point that that's a whole different conversation when you're tapping into talking to your guardian angels or the loved ones who have transitioned and how they're guiding you through it. So when you're ready to do that, I think it'll be fun to experience with it. Plus, I think it'll get you where it's not I don't want to go back there kind of a feeling. It's more like, even if you go back, you're wrapping it around with good memories, with the love, with the life that you guys shared, and where you are now, right? Because if it wasn't for that, you probably wouldn't be even here.
Right.
If you think about it, we're talking experiences, right? Think about the growth, the happiness, the smile, the aura that I see from you. I don't know if that was there before that event happened.
No, not at all. And to be very transparent, I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't be who I am if he was still alive.
Why do you say that?
Because myself and a lot of people, like when you get divorced and it's your kid's parent, a lot of the time there's this, unspoken relationship there or bond or something there where you either want to impress them or you don't want to impress them. Like you either care or you don't care. And I still cared, just to be totally transparent.
Makes sense. Oh, I get it. And that's some of the challenges of relationships when they don't go the way you want them to go. Right. Now, so here you are now. What are some of the things that you do right now? You said, how did you find Tantra? And how did that come into your breakthrough process? Because now you're feeling like, okay, I want to feel good. How do you go from that and you make the shift to Tantra and whatever else that you're into? Because I want to learn about what you do. So
sure,
please do share.
Sure. So Um, let's see. Married twice. Both of them were monogamous marriages, but the first one, we explored opening the marriage, and so that just, and I grew up in church, in a Baptist church, so Tantra and that, no.
Right.
So that was just my, where my head was at the time. And when that didn't work out, went into another monogamous marriage, and where I still knew that I didn't necessarily have normal beliefs around relationships and intimacy, and but I was gonna do what I thought worked, like this another monogamous marriage, right?
We're operating based on our subconscious. That's the way we're wired, right?
Yes.
So until you make a choice of going, and that a lot of times it goes against the popular belief, because they've been also downloaded with everything that has come our way. So
exactly.
yes. Now, what you did is perfect. It makes sense. Again, you're going with your intuition of what you need. You're
right. Yeah, I thought I needed to do this thing of oh, well, if I just am a better person in this marriage, if I'm just doing the right things, all of that bullshit, because that's not true.
right.
I was not living my true life, right off the bat, and it kicked me in the ass, not because I did anything wrong, but because I put myself in a situation where I didn't need to be, and then I got really hurt just from the outcome. And that hurt turned into, what was I doing? What was I doing the whole time this other stuff was happening? And I'm sitting there with these beliefs that a traditional monogamous marriage probably isn't really the way to go anyway.
Right.
And he's out fucking everyone else anyway, and I just didn't know.
Oh, wow.
And so then when all of that blew up and we tried to come together and make it work and all of that, it just didn't work with us two together. But I left that knowing that I was going to choose myself from here on out.
Yeah.
And that meant I needed to figure out who I am in relationships and alone.
Right.
And I did that. I spent a year alone. My son and I lived in an apartment, and that was my goal for the year. I put myself in specific situations of doing research with kink to see what it was I liked about it. I really went into who am I? What do I need? What do I want? What's going to make me suffer? And what's going to make me thrive? And Tantra was one of the things that I dove into. And I think I had the same idea that everyone has, that Tantra is about hours long sex. And I was kind of I don't really, that's not what I'm looking for. I think there's deeper meaning there. So let's see what it's about. And I'm very, very bold. And I'll dive in the deep end.
I love that.
Before I tiptoe in the shallow end.
Right. Cannonball in, huh?
Right. I feel like that's the only way I'm going to learn.
Of course.
So I did. I dove in head first. I went to a Tantra festival by myself.
A Tantra festival. That sounds interesting. How was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. The best way to describe it is to say, I had been around one tantric person before this, and I liked the energy exchange, and I liked that part of it, and that's what made me more curious. So I'm not joking when I say, when I walked into this, and once I felt everybody's energy, I felt like I was home.
That's great.
That's my vibe.
Yes. No, that's great.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this earlier, that you said last weekend you wanted to meet a tantric guy, and then you and I met.
Right. Right.
Great.
It's like, yes, that.
Your manifestation is very strong.
It is. It's
Yeah.
very strong.
That's good.
It was even more specific than that, and so.
Very cool.
Yeah.
No, that's great. So when you went through that tantric festival, then you learned skills, I guess.
I did. I learned actually. So they did a lot of energy work there. They did a lot of energy exchange of like, this is what it feels like to engage with energy and to involve energy in intimacy. And I realized at that point, I was already doing that. I just didn't know it was Tantra.
Right.
And also that it wasn't just in my intimate life, it was in my everyday life. And I didn't know that.
It's, you know what's so funny? What you're actually saying is reminding me. I have a friend of mine that she actually has her own podcast, and her name is Meg De La Torre, and her podcast is all about how intimacy is not necessarily sex. A lot of people get that mixed up, and I 100% agree. It's very different, and once you're able to discover that, it's a very life-changing experience that, oh wow, I've had this. Or I even, like, you usually know you have it even from the beginning, right? And then when you focus on it more, it just amplifies, like everything else in life what we focus on, right? I mean, you focus on something, it just, like, you see it everywhere, right? And it just takes it to a different level, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I would say.
By the way, her podcast, I just want to give her a plug because, you know, I really love her energy and she does a really nice job with it. It's called Erotic Renaissance. I'm sorry.
I like that.
Yes, Erotic Renaissance. I have to just make sure I'm doing it right. But anyways, it's a fantastic one. If I got it wrong, I'll just put the right one in the comments.
Right.
But yeah, it's she does a lot of that, and again, it's worth listening to for the audience if they're listening to this and they're interested in more intimacy in conversations. So yeah, so once you learn that, now you come out and what's next?
This was right before COVID. So I was at a point where I was deciding where to go next, and I was starting a business, developing a business, and then COVID hit, and that just, went down the tubes, and it was very clear to me that I needed to use my energetic gifts.
Yes.
So
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, for me, it's also the same thing because once you tap into that gift that you have and it becomes like people are attracted to it, people are drawn to it, and then you're also encouraged that, hey, expand this out, either seek people that are like-minded or influence others because it literally is a frequency that you could tune into, like a TV or a radio station, right? I mean, everybody has it. We're all coming from this beautiful source, right? Yeah. And it's just a matter of just being able to bring that in. So now when you come out and obviously you want to, like, let's say you want to show or share this with a couple, like let's say somebody comes to you through your social media and find you and okay, this is what you teach. What can they expect?
I work with ethically monogamous couples, or ethically non-monogamous. That's what it is.
There's a little bit of a difference
monogamous.
I was like, what does that mean exactly?
Nope.
Ethically non-monogamous. What does that mean?
It just means that you have a non-monogamous relationship.
Okay, they have an open relationship.
Yeah,
they're
and
open.
It's all above board.
Perfect. Okay, that makes sense.
And I get couples that just need help navigating that. Sometimes they're new to it. So, you can make a lot of mistakes if you don't have help navigating that. And so it just, what to expect is I'm going to ask a lot of questions about where you guys at and what are you guys looking to, where are you guys looking to go on this journey? and we're going to come up with some skills and ways that you can get there.
Okay.
Or you can decide, what's best for you,
Very cool. Now, are they follow-up sessions or usually just a one-time kind of a situation?
They could be one time, but for the most part, it's going to be, ongoing sessions. And then I do have a 3-month program called Tigress Training.
Tigress Training. So if for audience to be able to find you or get more information, I don't know if they can scan that back there. So it's at the Tigress Closet.
Yep.
That's the Instagram.
That's Instagram.
And is there any other way that they could reach you?
My website, thetigresscloset.com.
Thetigresscloset.com. We'll be checking that out. Now, I like to usually end the sessions with a couple of questions. And the reason I do that is, one, I always want to bring awareness to my friends, guests, whoever I'm interacting with. Not necessarily just awareness, just to kind of reminding ourselves that the feeling of love and gratitude, or the love is the highest vibration. Gratitude is right there, that actually helps facilitate the heart syncing with the brain and being able to manifest, right? So I like to know, what are the 3 things you're grateful for and why?
I'm grateful to have a support network. I am grateful to have a place to live. And I'm very grateful to have found a lot of this, whatever you want to call it, healing, any of these modalities. I'm grateful to be in this place. Like, that is number 1. I'm so grateful to be here and not where I was.
Very cool. So the first one that you mentioned, why are you grateful for that? How does that make you feel? And the reason I bring that up is because that feeling when we talk about gratitude, right? When we go back to actually what that means to us and why do I feel this way about it, it just takes it to a different level. For me, it does. So do this with me. Why are you grateful for it? And just like, what are the feelings that are around that support system for you?
I've been in a place where I didn't have it. And that's a very lonely feeling. And I don't like that. So when I say that I'm grateful to have a support system, like, I can feel it in my heart. My heart can swell. Like, I feel swelling in my heart when I say that, because I've had experience of having to rely on them in an extreme situation. So, like, I mean, I'm sure you can see it on my face. So, yes.
So isn't it interesting that now that you went back to think about the why and the feeling, I mean, you feel like you're like laughing more, you're losing your even speech because it gets intensifies when you think about the why behind it, right? Yeah. It's just a fun exercise I like to do. So the other one, obviously, your home, I'm guessing, is this beautiful place that you're here, you feel safe, this is your haven, right?
Yeah.
And the last one?
The last one, what did it? Oh, the last one.
The last one was about being able to do this and attracting this into your life.
It's the same thing. I've been in a place where I couldn't get out of bed. It wasn't a choice. It just was.
Yes.
So, like I said, I don't want to be there and I don't like being there, but I've been there and I'm not there now.
Yes.
So
now, for someone who's been there, I will tell you that the first few days, maybe the first, usually the stress hormones, biologically speaking, last for about 2 minutes, right? Anything after that is us being stuck in that, because it's a huge rush of chemicals, right? And you're there. Like, think about if you're a drug addict and it's
Right.
a familiar feeling because we've been there before. Now you're there. The rest of it, when you say it wasn't a choice, it becomes a choice. It's just a matter of, do I want to? That awareness is so challenging to have at that moment when you're actually deep in it. Because you're in the fight and flight system, right? Your brain is already wrapped in this traumatic thing that has happened. You're reliving it. You keep rethinking it. The emotions are also, we think in images, right? So you keep seeing those scenes. Now your neurons are firing and wiring together, right? So you are making this such a concrete thing, and then the same thoughts are creating the same emotions, the same experiences. And guess what? You're not going to get out of that bed.
Right.
It just keeps reinforcing it until that awareness kicks in. And I think thankfully, majority of us have that built in, or we can actually recognize it, that I don't want to feel this way, or I want to feel this way, and get out of it. And a lot of the people that I meet that are into this spiritual journey have had that the medication didn't work. The traditional ways of dealing with it didn't work. The only thing that got them out was that awakening and that enlightenment that, man, there is a path to this, that I can heal myself without medication. It's just the power of the thoughts and who I surround myself and the energy healing of it. It becomes something that you didn't even know was possible, right? I mean, it's very cool to tap into that and feel it, right? And I can totally see what you mean by that, because when you're wrapped around with people that are encouraging you, are loving you, right? And that word love, I'm using it very loosely because, again, it's the love towards another human being, that divine thing that is having this physical experience right now with you, right? You should naturally have natural love towards that, because you're the same. You're coming from the same source. It's like, it's loving yourself, the self-love. You got to start with that to recognize it, and then you recognize it in others that you interact with, that you could have genuine love towards them. And a lot of people might find that weird, that you actually love people without even knowing their name. But I am telling you, once you actually can connect to that level, you have that. And you might not go around and tell everybody that, because it's going to make them feel weird. It's like, I don't know your name, you're telling me you love me. But I'm like, no, it's a different kind of love, right? How would you explain that?
Just like you said, there are different types of love. I mean, it's scientifically proven. So I personally believe the same thing, that we can feel love for a stranger. We don't have to know who they are. We don't have to know anything about them. And we can still feel love for them. And it doesn't mean we're in love with them.
Right. It's very different.
It's very different.
Just sex and intimacy. It's different.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, like I've heard you on one of your other podcasts talk about like handing out compliments to people, that we should be able to do that.
Yes.
Without the fear of like, what are they going to think, or like their reaction or whatever. And I
we don't
agree.
do that very often.
Right.
And a lot of times I have noticed, sometimes girls seem to be a little bit, and this is based on my experience and what I've seen. Like, if you give a compliment, sometimes they're not even like, they don't know how to take it. They don't turn around. They don't say anything. But a lot of them also who are in tune, they will make eye contact. But that also goes back to our background. My cousin and I, we had a whole session on that one, and that's what it's a cultural thing for us. That is like, you don't make eye contact with the opposite sex.
Right.
So to this day, she is just, again, re-brainwashing herself to be able to actually do that naturally, which is crazy, because honestly, that human connection, that being able to just look at somebody is and connect and say hi and smile, is very crucial to our just psychological sunshine. The fact that you smile without even having a reason to smile, it just makes you feel good. It releases endorphins and you feel good.
Right.
So I want to ask you a couple more questions.
All right.
What is the one thing you must do more of?
Have fun.
Okay. Have fun. That's good. And what is the one thing you must do less of?
Oh.
It's a yin and yang. You got to have both.
Probably not being productive.
Okay. So you want to be more productive. And what does that mean to you in terms of being more productive?
I'm working on figuring out a part of myself, like how I operate best day to day. And so right now I'm figuring out, like, why do I get tired all of the time at this time of the day? And it really affects all of my day. And so that's where I'm at. I'm like, I need to figure this out, because I want to operate like at my best.
Right. So are you doing something in particular that you're not a fan of maybe at that time of the day?
Just like sleeping. I'll take a nap.
Okay.
And I'm not saying people shouldn't take naps, because naps are awesome.
Right.
But it's more that I'm seeing that there's a hormonal shift happening in my body, and I need to figure that out. And I am. Like, I already made a doctor's appointment. There's like, you got to figure that shit out, you know?
Right. Yeah.
That's just life.
And I'm sure you have a meditation routine that you go to.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course I do.
Yeah. more of that would probably fix the hormones too.
Maybe.
So, any thoughts that you have that you would like, anything that we haven't necessarily touched, either regarding you or any questions you have for me or anything that comes to mind before we wrap this wonderful session with you?
I think part of experiencing life differently and in a more positive way is being able to be resilient. And resilience is built. It's not, people think it's something you're born with. It can be, I guess, but I also do know for a fact that it can be built in you. So I think for me, that's one thing I really want people to know. Like, we're going to go through shit in life. Don't think that you can't handle it. You can.
Yes, 100% agree. I mean, the best proof source is when you look back now to what we have accomplished so far. I mean, one of the things that I love that you see when you said something, it just kind of takes me back to some of the stuff that I genuinely believe in, because a lot of times people, we just look at what's going on right now and the challenge of it. And I really think everybody who's experiencing life right now and is here for a reason to experience and take those experiences back, right? To be able to, again, contribute to the overall knowledge of the consciousness, right? Because energy can't experience things on its own, right? We have to be in these physical forms. And as we all agree, everything has energy. So depends on how many times we've been coming here and reincarnated and just experiences, whatever we're taking back, we just need to experience all of it, right? Good and bad, it's just the meaning we're giving it, right? It's maybe unpleasant at the moment, but when you look back, it is true when they say whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's just it's just a matter of the experiences we have, that collectiveness to now. And honestly, the biggest challenge that I think we had, and we don't even know that we did it, going back to, I guess, the moment of conception, if you think about it. You have, what is it? I forgot exactly what the number of in the millions of a sperm competing to get to this one finish line, right?
Yeah.
And you were the one who got there. Not you just got there. You broke through. That's your first breakthrough. And you planted that flag that this is mine. You know, you may have to share it with the identical twin at some point, but you know what? He is just as resilient as you. So, I mean, that's just the first and the most important win. I mean, we're all winners if you look at it that way. I don't care if it's the guy that is panhandling now versus the guy that is a multimillionaire. It's just the fact that you are here. That desire was in your just nature, in your energy, in your core to be here. Now you're experiencing what you're experiencing because it's either a karmic action, you manifested it towards you, right? And I know sometimes people would be like, you know, I have friends that are like, so you're telling me what's happening right now and this is wrong with me. I manifested it. And sometimes, you know what? I have to be the a-hole and tell them, yeah, you did. You know, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's the death of a loved one. I don't care, because we are here to experience things. Right? And if it's needed for your overall growth to experience something like that, to experience loss, to experience disease, it's needed.
Right.
Until you're fully knowledgeable, and then you go back, and if you don't have to come back and you stay with the source, great. But at some point, I think it's going to be boring to just be pure joy and happiness. You want to experience different stuff. You got to go, I don't know if it's on this dimension or a different one, to experience different modality of life. I mean,
Right.
it's Dolores Cannon. She goes pretty deep into stuff. And she's actually one of the people that I listen to, and I enjoy listening to her. It's just, it just opens up your mind to different possibilities and different modalities, right? So anyways, I could go on for hours with this. Thank you again, Stephanie, for the time. Stephanie the Tigress. I love that. I look forward to getting to know you more as our friendship evolves. And obviously looking forward to refer people to you if they're coming in for couple therapy, and feel free to send them my way if we need some transformational life coaching and energy balancing, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Of course, this was fantastic. Love your energy, love your smile, and when you're ready to just not be numb, kick it up a notch for the other one, we'll talk again.
All right.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode and join us next time. If you'd like to sit in as a guest to talk about your journey and share your success story on this program to inspire others, or perhaps need a little pick-me-up in the form of support and advice on how to overcome the life challenges you are facing now, drop us a line at brainwashedcreations.com. Let's connect and step into my world. Please share this with the special people in your life, and remember to smile big, love and laugh often, and surround yourself with those who uplift you constantly. Live your best lives, my friends, and keep on cleansing your mind and be conscious of your thoughts and your self-talk. Until next time, I wish you peace, love, and harmony.